Hey there, it's Sam with another video message for you. This one will be relatively short compared to some other video messages. And honestly, I came in today with a different topic in mind, and I'm gonna do something different than I was planning to originally. So I hope what I say today encourages you. I was gonna talk about just another topic in fiction, like fictional tropes and such like that, and there'll be time for that later, of course. I'm gonna keep doing that overall, but just some things happened in the past day or two, and of course, things have been going on in our world in these past few weeks that made me want to address some of these things. So I had a plan even up until yesterday to talk about something else, and then someone convinced me, and I was like, hold on, let me change my topic for today. So before I'm talking in vague terms. Let me tell you this story. I mean, this little events that happened to me in the past day or so that made me shift my focus, and then I'll tell you what I'm thinking about. So I've been trying to connect with people, on online, building my social media audience, and someone on LinkedIn reached out to me. He had read some of my story, Fractured Heroes, and I've been chatting with him a little bit. I'm trying to keep in touch with people who are becoming fans. My fan base is small enough now that I can do that. Maybe one day, if I'm more, that I can't get in touch with them all, but I'm trying to for now. Um, this person honestly was probably more complimentary of me and my writing than I sometimes think I deserve. I won't read you everything he wrote to me because I don't want to toot my own horn necessarily, but I'll read you two parts of that kind of go together of what I was thinking. So he was reading my story, Fractured Heroes, and here's what he said about that. This connection on LinkedIn messaged me. He said, "The work is highly relevant because we have a large number of people on the globe who are nothing but people with deep, invisible injuries within. Man's greediness blinds him to the secret of true happiness. By fractured heroes, I mean this: every human being is fractured inside, including successful and unsuccessful ones. Your work has thus universal appeal." I think English is not his first language, maybe, so if there was some non-standard syntax there, forgive it. But that person said this to me, and honestly, well, one thing I was happy because he's getting the message that I wanted to put out there. I've always wanted my story to give hope in the brokenness. I've talked before. It's about flawed characters. I mean, they're superheroes. They're not real, but in the sense of humanity and realistic emotions, I try to make them realistic. They each of the main characters has a character flaw they have to overcome, and that's part of their development and such. Just like honestly, we all do. And it's been said that you can't really sum up a novel or a story into a one sentence moral or anything like that. It kind of takes away from the story. But if you could, or if I had to try to, I would say the one thing I want the reader to get out of it is there is great brokenness, both within ourselves as humans and in the world around us, and all these things. But there's also great hope. There's also redemption and potential for change. I've talked a little bit before about the inspiration for Fractured Heroes, and or just different inspirations led me to it, obviously. But some years ago in college, I read Watchmen by Alan Moore and Dave Gibbons, which is considered by some in the graphic novel world. It's a classic. Some consider it the best graphic novel ever written or created, most literary or whatever everyone to define that. And it is very well written. Um, it also deals with flawed characters who are broken on the inside, and there's brokenness in the world around them and things like that. But the big thing about Watchmen, the big difference there between that and my story, is it does not really offer hope. It's a very bleak outlook on the world, and just kind of nihilistic even about humanity and our fate and our future. And I was reading that, and I was like, okay, yes, there's some truth here. There's broken characters, brokenness within us, and things like that. And I want to write that too. I want to show that in my own writing, but I also want to offer hope because I think the brokenness is only half of humanity's story. Maybe not even the most important half. It's only it's only what leads us to I guess to hopefully to finding redemption and to finding a better path. Yeah, I'm reading the comments here. Christopher wrote, "Commonality between humans is the best place to start when building relationships with others from a place of brokenness to a place of fully realized strength." Thank you, Chris. I like that. And I'm sure that's been obviously that's been in other fictional works too. It's not necessarily original to mine, but it's there's all of us can resonate on some level with that sense of brokenness, both within us and in the world around us. So I'll transition from there. let me read you the second part of what this person wrote to me on LinkedIn. Um, he said, and this part is only, it's like, I guess it's tangentially related to writing. It's not, it's not broadly, it's broadly connected, but I think it'll be more important not just to creative writing, but to our lives, hopefully. This person said, Mr. Harris, you write so well. Please make a video that might be on international peace. Russia and Ukraine have every chance to cause a third world war, particularly if they use nuclear weapons. I keep contacting people deciding that might contribute to world peace. So he wrote that to me, and I was like, well, I don't know if I have anything to say. I mean, I don't know if anything I can say can contribute to international peace. I mean, I don't expect this video to reach world leaders or change the minds of millions. Hey, I mean, if it does, by some miracle, great. I mean it's great, but I mean, I think what he was saying is you want to use your influence to offer hope, and you want to use your whatever influence you do have, big or small. For most of it, it's a little smaller. It's okay, but whatever influence you do have, use it to offer hope and peace. And obviously, the Ukraine-Russia situation is distressing and discouraging to many of us, as rightly we should feel that way. Probably none of us feel that way more so than those in Ukraine who are actually fighting for their lives or fleeing for their lives, a mixture of both. That's been going on, tensions have been building, or I guess in the news for like a month or two. I mean, I know tensions have been building before that, but even before that thing, we had we had other unrest in countries like Afghanistan and Myanmar and lots of other places in the past couple of years. Obviously, we've all come through the pandemic in the last 2 years. That's caused unrest, to say the least. That's caused, I mean, the disease and death for many, as well as other societal effects on us. And, even in our own country in the past couple of years, we've had racial violence and we've had political riots and things like that. And it's a lot of unrest, a lot of brokenness. And that's just a quick summary of the past 2 years. I mean, that's not even taking it on all of human history or anything like that. So my point is there. I don't have to tell you. There's brokenness around us. There's brokenness in me. There's brokenness in you. There's brokenness in our families, in our communities, in our countries, and in our world. That's just the way it is. But I believe, and I want to convey through my story and through my writing, that there is also hope, and I want to offer that hope to some of you, to those who read my story or listen to my content. If I'm privileged to have you as a listener, then I hope it brings you value, not only in the writing realm, although that's a start, but in life too. I hope that, I mean, not to overuse the word hope, I'm going to anyway, but I hope it brings you hope in some way. And I recognize that there are a number of different perspectives among my social media audience. I don't always focus on this overtly in my author videos, but I personally believe that the source of mankind's hope is in the person and the work of Jesus Christ. And if you want to talk more about that, I'll be glad to discuss it with you. I'm not going to focus on that intensely in all of my videos, but that leads into something else. Some of you know I do work during my day job at a nonprofit missions organization, so a Christian organization. So I was there yesterday, and one of my teammates, coworkers, gave a little devotional message, and he also focused on these themes of brokenness and hope. And this is before I got this message from this person, the person on LinkedIn who asked me to make a video about world peace or to address some of these topics in my video. I got this I probably checked it around lunchtime yesterday. So this other message that I heard was yesterday morning before I even got the message on LinkedIn. But this person, my coworker at work, shout out to Mike if you're seeing this. He gave a message about brokenness and hope also. He talked about different forms of brokenness we see in our lives. And again, I don't have to tell you what those are. We all have them. We all know them both on a small scale in our personal lives and on a grand scale in our world. And then he also offered the words of hope. And the verse, the words of Jesus came to my mind. It's a verse in the Bible. It's John 16:33, where Jesus says, "In this world you will have trouble." There's a second after that. I'll get to that in a minute. But I think it's interesting. He says, "In this world you will have trouble." Some people think of religion as like a magic cure for all their problems, or I guess I guess a more derogatory view of religion would say it's like a crutch or just a fantasy escape from the real problems of the world, which I don't believe it is if you do it rightly. But that's not what Jesus was talking about. Jesus was very honest. He said, "In this world you will have trouble. Not you might, not you sometimes could." He says, "In this world you will have trouble." Period, and that's true for all of us. But the second half of that verse is very important. He says, "But take heart, I have overcome the world." That's John 16:33. And so there's also a saying, or not really a saying, just kind of maybe a shared idea among Christians sometimes, that if you hear the same verse 2 or 3 times in a row in ways that otherwise seem like coincidence, maybe God is trying to speak to you, or maybe God is trying to tell you something. So I was thinking that. So I heard that message yesterday morning. I was thinking of that verse, John 16:33. Then last night, even as I was planning this video in my mind, and as I was thinking what I was going to say last night, I was scrolling through my news feed and I saw some other group I'm in share that same verse, John 16:33, which says, and here's the fuller version that I saw last night: "I have told you these things so that in me you may have peace. In this world you will have trouble, but take heart, I have overcome the world." Those are Jesus' words in John 16:33. So again, I don't want to belabor the point. Maybe I'll get off my soapbox. I'll stop preaching. I know most of you didn't come here for a sermon today. If you do want to hear more about that, about my beliefs, hit me up. I'll be glad to talk to you. I know most of you are here to talk about writing, and that's different. But I just thought those words would be, they were speaking to me. God was trying to tell me something, I believe, or at least it's possible. Maybe he wanted me to hear it. Maybe he wanted someone out there to hear it. I don't know. But that was what was on my heart to share today. Again, only tangentially connected to writing, but I hope my writing brings hope. If we had to connect this to writing, because even when we do other topics, I try to give an application to our writing. I would say just make sure your writing shares hope too. I like my formula. It's not original to me, obviously, but a good way to do that is just balance in your writing and your stories. Show the brokenness of man, show flaws and real problems and things like that, but also show hope and redemption and the sources of and ways that humanity can find that. So I know that a fictional story like mine can only offer us so much. It's not, it doesn't have all the answers. I hope that my story points others toward the true source of humanity's hope. And so there we go. So take that for what you will today. Take it for your writing if it helps you. Take it for your own soul and your own heart and peace of mind if it helps you. There is trouble in this world. There is brokenness both within us and out in the world, but there is also hope. I'm just reading the comments. Christopher also wrote, "As consciousness is on the line, it's a circle or spiral. It goes up and down and loops on itself. That's why civilizations fall and are overtaken. World peace starts with human to human peace." That could be very true. What it does to extent, what it does to include the beliefs of the author in the story, be it conscious or unconscious. That's true. I mean, we could talk more about that, about how the different authors have put their beliefs into their story, whether conscious or unconscious. I mean, Tolkien is a great example. He was a Christian. His work is not overtly an allegory, but many people speculate and try to find those meanings in it. And that's a different topic for today. But my story obviously does contain my beliefs. I'm trying not to put them in there, overtly. It's not a sermon per se, but I do want it to share the hope that I believe in, that I have with others. So I hope, again, to use that word one more time, and pray that I've shared some of that hope with you today. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening, and have a great weekend.